Denise Forte is here, serving the Obama administration Education Department, interim CEO of the Education Trust. Denise, I'm glad to have you. And if you think about who's getting hurt the worst here, it's the poor kids, right? And rich kids have got their parents. We saw that in Virginia and other school boards to stand up for them. The teachers have this teachers' unions. Are the poor kids really just left to fend for themselves in this system?
The story is not good. It really isn't. And when we think about what we saw nationally with drops in both reading and math, the challenge is before all of us. It is a clarion call for parents, it's a clarion call for teachers and educators, a clarion call for our leaders to do something right now.
All right, well, agreed time to do something. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Is it time for the teachers' unions to really give up some power and try charter schools and school choice in a way that would be meaningful?
I'm not going to point fingers here. Look, when we looked at the data...
Denise, if we have abject failure, if we're not going to point figures, how can we get better?
We can get better if we all take ownership over what's going on here. I mean, honestly, if you do look at the data, and the data here is what's most important, if you look at states that open sooner versus states that stayed closed longer, the difference is null. They did about the same. So I don't think we should be pointing fingers and looking back. Instead, what I really hope folks take away is to do something right now. Perhaps what's most curious is what you called out in the Washington Post story, is that folks are not spending the money that's available to them. To me, that is a real shame.
No, it's always amazing when people don't spend the money, right? It seems as though that's all people can do. But you talk about the data, and you're right that states that locked down versus those that didn't, there wasn't clear connections. The flip side of that is that there have been clear connections made to things that do work in education: charter schools, school choice, school vouchers, competition, and the like.
Why is it so? With you there.
I'm sorry?
I might differ with you there. If you look at the data on that as well, if you look at school choice and charters and vouchers even, we're doing about the same. So I'm not going to take that as the sole solution here. There are many solutions. And if you look what LA did, Superintendent Carvalho, in terms of this increase in points around reading, as well as what was going on with Black and Latino students, we're seeing an increase there. So what did he do right? He would name a number of things, and I don't know that any of them included charters or vouchers.
Have we gotten to the point yet where we've learned anything from the last pandemic that makes us ready for the next one? Because as you describe it, if in 2 months or 3 months from now we have another spike in COVID cases, which at least according to Axios is reporting right now is very likely, we're not really ready.
Well, we've learned a few lessons. I think
is one of those not to lock down, you think?
I think one of those is to be prepared. I think we've also heard when we get students into small tutoring situations where they're one teacher or even one well-trained college student, one well-trained grandparent for that matter, who is working with students in a small group situation, they actually do better. When kiddos know that they are coming to a classroom that's more inclusive, where there's a sense of belonging.
I've only got about 30 seconds, but I wanted to get you on this. There have been a lot of stories leading up to the pandemic about sort of the change in culture in American schools, from being one based on merit and the honor roll to much more based on participation and everybody feeling good and getting through math class, talking about math rather than doing math problems. Does that need to change as well, you think?
Well, again, I'm just going to go to the data. And what we do know is that kids who feel belonging, who see themselves in the classroom, will do better in the classroom. Kids who are presented with the opportunity to do more rigorous coursework, they will do it. We need to set higher expectations for all kids. But most important, let's spend that money on the evidence that we know works. Trust the data, trust the evidence.
It always is bewildering to me when you follow the money and there's a big pot of it in dismal results. Denise, we appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.